Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie, and we've been having an engaging conversation with Anita on parent-led education. Welcome to the fourth part. So that means, what was the answer to that question?
For who
is having an influence on your children?
It's very dependent on your home. Many of them you'd see it's the yes, and it just showed us that clearly it's not the parent. And many times, sadly, it was a house help for those who have very little kids. For those who are older, because that's another thing we've delegated. The nurturing has been given to the house help.
That's another thing. And let me tell you, the house help is something you need to pay about. You know, they told me, I like my good friends from Nigeria.
Yeah.
My friends from Nigeria told me they have never seen anything. They've never seen house girls' dishes in Kenya. Actually, Nigeria.
Yeah.
When you want to get a house cut, which now makes sense. I mean, I'm just thinking, so much is going through my head, but I'm just thinking, if this person is going to spend a lot of time, then don't you think it's should be a well thought out process about who's spending time with your kids? So in Nigeria, I said Nigerians. First, you have to know her chief.
But with good reason. Yes.
I'm just telling you, this is a picture. The one, like, they can't believe our house girl. Where does she come from? Her community? There has to be a deliverance service. Salvation and deliverance is a must.
Are you serious?
They must have a session with your pastor.
Hiya.
Then, and only then, can they be exposed? Or they must know the family in detail. Who are the family? Where does this person come from? Before that person can be exposed to their children.
Wow.
Now, the shocking thing was how house girls come in and out. In and out. And you know the worst thing about it is, I don't know how we got here in terms of parent-led education. We haven't talked about parent-led education. But the first sexual experience of most boys and some girls is the house girl.
Yes.
Can you imagine how dramatic that story is? The first sexual experience of... I don't even know what to say. And what I'm trying to say, I think what we're saying is also that house girl. You had better, don't even say you don't have time, because if this person is going to influence your child, then you better have thought this thing out. You better know a lot more about them. You better have prayed up the situation.
It's true.
Because that person is. And then what are their values? So what are they influencing your child to do? What are the values that they're giving your child?
It's true. It's true.
That cannot be just a position that can be occupied by anyone.
Yeah. So to add on to that, maybe this one you can help me. It's when you said house helps that has triggered something that I've battled with for a while. I call it the broken equation in my mind. And why I call it that, I feel that as we've developed, technology is good and so is development, but I feel that along the way, some equations didn't work, which is can I say the factor of the fall. But why I say this is, when I look at what happens is that house helps leave their kids in the rural areas, either with a grandmother or a mother or someone taking care of them, to come and take care of this child of mine that I will leave so that I go to the office to tend another man's garden. And I don't know if it's just me, and I don't have an answer, Pastor Angie, but this really grieves me. And it's those things that I sit and I'm like, then I'm looking around, I'm like, no one is seeing that there's a problem. I'm like, why is that equation? And as I say that, it's for us to stop and ask ourselves, why is it looking like this? Because even for her, she would love to be able to be there to impart values on her children. Then she's coming here and she's busy about her children, so she's not even going to do a good job with mine. So it is for us to stop, I think, like, you know, pause and ask ourselves, how do we break this cycle? Yeah, but I think it's until we stop and see that there's a problem and see what can we do. And I look back fondly when I imagine how life was in the past. And why I say that is because I imagine how it was. All of us were living together in community. Children's education was part of the work. You know what I mean? We were all living together and growing up together. And it made me think of, he's called Dr. Neil Field. He did a research. He's a development psychologist. And there's a phrase that he said that stood out with me. He said that nowadays he feels that parenting ends before childhood does. And for him, he advocates, he actually says that it's critical for a child to have good attachment, especially in the formative years. And he says especially before age 10, otherwise they will not emotionally thrive as adolescents. And that explains some of the problems we're actually seeing right now. And now that attachment will only happen if, unfortunately for us parents, we need to make some form of a sacrifice so that we can be present for the child to attach, because they need to attach to something. And when they don't have a constant caregiver, then there's a vacuum.
Where they can attach to other things then.
Yes. And it goes even more to more studies where people say, and that's why, oh, there's another book that another author who actually speaks and says the problem is children are now, they end up attaching to their peers, and that's where now peer pressure comes in. Whereas they would have attached to, can I say, their parents? Now that, because there must be an attachment that is going to happen. And the peers give them the affirmation and the love they need, and that's why they listen to them and do all the crazy things that everybody else is doing.
And that's why even like in places like where guns are, that's why the guns work. And we can't say it's a US problem, anyway, it's everywhere, even here. It's because the gun gives you a sense of belonging. So I find somebody to attach to, and then I attach, and that's it, I go. And then my life goes the wrong way. But I think even the point that you brought up before, I don't even know what to do about that point. But I know I've thought about it. How does the house girl leave her home, leave her own child, come to look after your child, which you have left, to also go and look after somebody else's? It's like everybody is tending somebody else's garden instead of tending your garden. And that must be very sad, and I have no idea. But I love what you've called it, a broken equation. It's a broken equation. Something's not right with that picture. And I think the other thing that was heavy on my heart when it came to parent-led education is I felt that I think we have sanitized children out of our environment. Okay, I know, but it's these things I sit and think about, and it's one of those things. Good, you're a deep thinker.
But I don't have answers to many of them.
You don't have to have answers. That's the problem. That we think that we must have answers. You know, I liked even in leadership. I think at some point I've always thought that when you don't know, say you don't know. And maybe you're just giving people an opportunity to talk about something that we're all thinking about, and maybe the answer will come to us or to each one of you as we think about it. But you don't, I think it's wrong when we think we need to know everything. And so when I say sanitize, it's the same way when I walk in town between 8 and 5 and I see no children, I think I'm the only one who gets grieved. Because I wonder, we're training these children to join our workforce, but they have no idea what happens when they are in class. I feel we've really separated. Our learning is so theoretical. That's why I said I liked that's why I liked what used to happen in the past, in that as a child was growing, you're seeing that your father has gone to dig in the garden and you're being taught, so you're knowing what you're working towards. For me, I felt what I did in the classroom and what I went to do in the office was, I was so scared, because it's like, how will I know what I'm supposed to do? It helped that I saw my mother and we'd actually go into her office, which was very good, but which was actually rare, because we'd go into her office, especially when I was older, and wait for her to finish her work, because she'd work late. But for someone else, they don't even know what their parents' office looks like, if they work on a laptop, if they dig, you know. And that's why I like what the Asian community does. They involve them from a very young age, and they understand exactly what's going on in this business. And I think even the way we've seen, even like people, or it's a big problem also that where there's an inheritance and the children squander the inheritance. It's because you really didn't bring them into that whole inheritance from a young age. They really don't know what this is about. They don't know what it's cost you. They don't know what it's cost you. You know me, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Sometimes I try to say no to share, but I'm always sharing. I share too much. I share. But I'm always sharing because I'm always thinking, but you must know how I feel about this situation. That's why I want to share. So I think it's important, that kind of sharing. And I've just thought about it. Maybe they're in school, maybe they're in town just commuting, but nobody actually knows what happens in this great town. And they're in such a hurry to get home to do their homework. I mean, for them to learn about careers is an event. In that, it's a career day, and that's only in high school. So when you're in primary, you don't talk, you just do your homework. When you get to high school, when you're choosing, is when I will start thinking careers, and it shouldn't be like that. Then another thing is, let me ask you before we move there. Now, the parent-led education, do you do practical? How do you do education differently now with your boys? And incorporate that. How do you incorporate life?
Now they're still young, and that's why having them around is they get to see life. You
doing what you do every day.
And for me, and I think that was one of the key things why I homeschooled. I don't want, can I say, a fragmented life. You know how you were saying you have church on Sunday, then you have now my normal life where now when I come to work, then I wear another hat when I'm with my kids. I just feel if it's Christianity, it needs to flow through everything. Even for and my kids get to see me walking as a Christian. They see me struggle. Today I told them, please pray for me. I told them, you know, I'm really anxious about coming to do this. And then they told me, but mommy, remember, when you're afraid, you should trust in God. And that's the verse I tell them. So they throw back the word at me, and I laugh, and I'm like, but it's because we are walking life together.
So in terms of your homeschooling,
yes,
or your parent-led education, they are involved in your whole life.
Many times they are every day, and then now for Makau, they may not be able to like go to the office as much, but like the time he was speaking at Upper Hill Leaders Fellowship, actually dragged them. Yes, and it was hard at lunchtime events. And like, why are they not in school? And we walked into the hotel, and I dressed them up, and you should have seen them carrying their notebooks because, and they keep remembering we went to see Daddy's. And for me, when we went that day, it was a lot of work. I was like, it would have been easier not to, but something planted so that now, because they actually do presentations for one of the groups we go to, but I was telling them so that it's not theoretical. I told them, you saw how that these students spoke. So when I told you to be confident, it's because you're going to speak and teach people.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And then we go for a lot of field trips, but my dream, honestly, and even for Makau, is to have can I say a family kind of business. The time we made them bake muffins. When Zion was 5, he baked muffins. We made him sell just to try start planting the seed. But and even for life coaching, I always say I wish I had like a home office. I'll make them make the tea. You're the one who will be answering the calls. You know, just find a way to do it as they get older. And that's my dream. I want them to just see how things are done. And I wish we had, right now I'm ready even to weave or do something that they can be a part of and resell, so that they see how our business works, how you make profit, how you talk to your customers. That is a dream. Is so you can pray for pray for us for that.
I think it will morph to that, and I think that was powerful that they came to see Makau speak. I think that must be stuck somewhere in their mind.
It is. And they even talk about, and she does them with that notebook straight, so they look around, they see people are writing notes, even them they want to write notes. And it's just this thing,
modeling, isn't it?
And even another thing I was saying, where I feel we've sanitized, is even, can I say, in church, not badly, I love that there's Sunday school and children go to learn, but I feel that we don't stay with them also in the corporate fellowship part, where we can worship together and for them to see
exactly, they can witness. So I think some churches, I think it's good where they stay there,
start together,
they're released, you know. And then sometimes I wonder, it's I don't know, it's not politically correct to say, but sometimes I think even the Sunday school serves as a, we don't want to be with our kids.
Exactly.
We don't want to be disturbed, so you guys take care of the children on that. So it's just another way to separate them from being from us.
And imagine, I felt like, especially after I had a child, you know how people like the creche. To me, I felt creche was like prison. Because when we began, our church was small, we didn't have a creche. But when the creche was made, actually felt like now I was being told yet another reason why the child is not good enough to be here, because you know children are messy and noisy according to us, and they don't conform. So they'll say anything. So yet again, we want to take them to another. So these things used to hurt me. And you actually see, even for women, that's another thing. When they have babies, we also go through another season as parents, and we don't know where to fit in anymore, because you're no longer, now you have this child who's now like a burden according to society. So you're not quite sure, do I carry them somewhere or not, because it will mean embarrassment, can I say, because they'll cry. But I think it's for us to be bold as parents and realize that we have to take these children out there. For you to go with your child to work on some days, it won't be comfortable, but slowly, if all of us start doing that, it becomes, can I say, almost normal, and we start challenging the norm, and we'll even push HR policies. That's something else I was thinking about for us as parents. Things like flexi hours or working from home.
Or even allowing you, like now there's somebody who actually asked me, one of my staff, they said, can I come with a child? I said, of course.
You see,
there's no how. Even God can strike. What? I am here trying to change culture. I said, there's no discussion. Don't even give me a timeline. Just let the child come to work. If that's what's going to make you happy and keep you happy, it's important. Even like here even at the office, I always telling people like 4 o'clock, I call them, I say, why are you still there? Because I cannot be the one whose people are here at 7. And they live here at 7, because then I'm not helping, because I'm a culture changer, and I have to model it. So they come in at 9 and they leave at 4. That's it. Go, because I'm trying to say there's another life. If you have a family, there's a family. If you're single, please go find the family, because go do something. But you cannot be at work all the time. That's what I'm trying to model. But I think it's important. If people can bring their children to work, let them bring their children to work, so that we don't. I almost want to say we make a new normal. Wow, I hope you've really enjoyed the conversations that we're having. They're giving us a lot of food for thought. And I really pray that something is tugging in your spirit, especially if you're watching this and you really feel that this is a direction that God is leading you. I hope that the conversation has helped you. And this is the end of part 4, and we'll be looking forward to see you in part 5.